Ergo Bra, everybody. Top of the morning or afternoon if you're watching this, or evening. Top of your everything. Happy St. Patrick's Day and happy to day two. That's four. Happy to day two of your distance learning experience. Yeah. We're having a great time. Hope you're having fun making the most of it. We read an article last time about the geography in Italy. And we're going to continue moving on that direction to get a little bit more specific in Article 2 about a lot of the natural benefits of Rome's location. As you see, Italy, the Italian peninsula, is in the south central part of the European continent. And it juts right into the Mediterranean Sea, which gives that central location is going to be really good as far as it being able to have trade along those lines. I'm making sure that I'm next to the picture and not behind it. That's probably going to be pretty important. But the peninsula itself, with its location at the southern end, blocked off by mountains from the rest of Europe from invasion, but in the middle of the Mediterranean to be able to quickly and easily access and travel and trade is definitely advantageous. I mentioned last time, and just want to refresh on that Italy's peninsula, a shape surrounded by water on three sides, review from last lesson, Italy's peninsula is often referred to as the boot. As you can see with that picture, just got a notification. Probably want to turn off the volume on the computer, Mr. Keelan, while you're taping videos. Yeah. Anyway, so I found this picture that kind of illustrates that boot shape. You see the toe of the boot is kind of kicking Sicily. And if you think where the top of the boot is, that's right about where Rome would be. Continuing to move on, let's talk about the different levels of protection. Mentioned in the previous video that the Alps, which is the tallest mountain range in Europe, is very jagged and hard to navigate. That gives the Romans a lot of protection throughout. If you look, you can almost see that the Alps themselves wrap around the shape of northern Italy. It gives them a natural barrier from invasion. This is going to be very advantageous for the Romans to build a civilization, and it's going to be one of the ways they maintain an empire for almost 1,000 years. As you can see with the satellite picture from here, those got to be pretty big mountains. They're snow covered. It is a high elevation. We're not talking Himalayan elevation or maybe even Rocky Mountain elevation, but it's in the continent is the tallest, and it's very difficult to navigate. Just to further illustrate that point, you see, that those aren't necessarily big hills. These are jagged, tough mountains that are hard to get around. The other thing is that there's a second mountain range throughout the center of the Italian peninsula, the Apennines. The Apennines mountain range is not nearly as big, but also gives a secondary barrier right to Rome. If you look, Rome is right in the center of the mountain range, and having this natural barrier, which would be hard to move an army across the peninsula to attack Rome, is another way that it is protected. When you look at the Apennines, they're not, they look more like our Appalachian Mountains near us, really big hills, older mountains, but getting and moving troops in this time period before motorized vehicles was very difficult. And this just was another means of defense for Rome, and one of the reasons why they were able to build a city that could be the center of an empire for more than 1,000 years is because the city itself, the heart of it, had such great protection. Another great part of it is that it has a great climate. In the wintertime, we see that the climate is really mild. Although you see, some people enjoying a snowball fight around the Leaning Tower of Pisa in this photo, it's just pretty uncommon. There's not a lot of times where we have tons of snow. It's every now and then in Italy, mostly colder temperatures in the 50s and rain. It's mild. Never gets too much freezing. This means that in the summer, there's been a lot of moisture, but not enough to freeze out, a lot of different crops. And because they have such a warm, prolonged, dry summer, hot, dry summer, with that beautiful Mediterranean climate. If you think in the United States of the climate near San Diego, California, warm, dry, pretty much like 70s, 80s, just ideal. That's what we're talking about. Italy is gorgeous in the summertime. Very, very wonderful. But that not only is pleasant for if you're traveling there on vacation or just living there, it's also fantastic for farming. The mild winter coupled with the warm, dry summer makes for great, great farming, especially of a few specific crops that Italy is going to be exemplary and growing. One of the most famous ones is the grape. Here we see a vineyard on the Italian countryside. Grapes being something that grows on a vine in the rocky environments of the Apennines is something that can grow real well. Not have to have deep soil. Similar to the Greeks, who are also going to be really great at growing grapes, and we're going to talk about olives. A lot of shared connections with their cuisine and their farming with the Greeks. One of the things that the Italians are especially good at growing is wheat. We can see a wheat farm here. This is going to be, if you think of, if you like Italian cuisine, lots of breads. Now, during Roman times, they're not eating pasta, but the fact that they're able to use that innovation of Asia and make it such a big part of their cuisine was because they had an abundance of wheat that they were growing. Yay, wheat and pasta. Love those. And lastly, as previously mentioned, the olive. I love them. Olive farming is tremendous in Italy, and especially for the production of oil, which is going to be a real important thing that they trade and export. And that about wraps up our time for this lesson. Your discussion question for today is: what benefits did the climate have on Rome, and enabling it to become a successful civilization? Give a description of the climate as well. Probably be a good idea. Well, I'm going to be wearing a different house shirt each day, so it is St. Patrick's Day to represent Isabindi, and it's a great time to stay brave, have a lot of courage, and keep rocking 6th grade. You're doing a fantastic job. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day and a wonderful Tuesday. See you tomorrow.